For early access to new episodes and other exclusive content, go to patreon.com/MiharuTheFox. Hey guys, it's Miharu and welcome back to SpyroCast. This is episode 46, and today I have a guest who was referred by episode 42 guest Muggany. Why don't you introduce yourself?
Hello, my name is Luckyseven. I've been a gamer a long time. I've met Muggany actually through writing fan fiction with him and then tried to do a podcast with him for a little bit, but scheduling was a bit rough. But happy to be here.
Very nice. So what is your history with Spyro?
Well, the first time I ever played Spyro, oh gosh, it was the early 2000s. It was a little bit after Year of the Dragon came out, and I went over to my friend's house, literally right next door, because my parents had gone over and they had their PlayStation 1 hooked up, and they had Ripto's Rage in it, and they were playing, and they showed me how to do some of the cheat codes, like to change his colors or make him flat. And I thought those were pretty funny. But then I picked up an orb. I distinctly remember I had to work hard to earn it because, oh god, I think it was that really annoying one where you're chasing that scientist and he's just running in front of all the rock dudes trying to get himself
the alchemist
killed.
in Fractured Hills.
Yeah, the alchemist. Yes, yeah. And I remember when I finally got that orb, I was so excited and it just hooked me. And I ended up just playing the entire game that night and just 100%ing everything. I just stayed over at their place all night. And since then, I've just fell in love.
That's great. How did you feel when you realized doing that orb challenge isn't enough and you have to do it again because you can't do the second part unless you have the head bash?
Yeah, that was fun. I remember that. I also remember getting really frustrated playing the game originally because after I did that, I started my own save. And I remember it was one of the first games I played where you had to backtrack after learning certain abilities. So, you have to learn how to climb the ladder to do, be able to climb up at the start of the level. What is it? Sorry, I'm trying to think. Glimmer, when you get into the first interior area. Yes. And I remember I was so annoyed because even as a kid, I was a little completionist, and it was the first game that made me do that. And that's, yeah, I wasn't ready for that. And then, like you said, having to do that one again, that one hurt. Yeah.
So was this the first game that you ever completed 100%?
It was, yes.
Yes, me too.
Really? It was?
Yes.
Yeah, because I didn't even own a console at the time. This was like a year before I got my Xbox. So my first Spyro I actually owned myself ended up being A Hero's Tale. I'm very thankful to this day that it was not Enter the Dragonfly. But yeah, it was the first one I ever completed, and I was very happy they let me stay over to do that.
Awesome. Yeah, Spyro 2 was not only the first Spyro game I ever completed, but it was the first game that I ever 100%ed completely on my own.
It's a fun one to start with, too. Spyro, I mean, to this day, it's still my favorite Spyro. The level design in it is just immaculate for me. I just think they did such an incredible job, and every challenge, feels fresh and interesting, except for the one where you have to track down the professor's pencil. That one also gets me.
Really? That's actually my favorite challenge in that game.
Is it really? Oh,
yes,
man.
It is. I love being able to explore the entire level.
I know a lot of people complain about, I think it was Robotica Farms. A lot of people say that's their least favorite level. I
that's
actually
my
quite
least
like
favorite,
that one.
Yeah. I like the ideas in it. I do like the robot bugs. I think that's a cool concept. I just don't like most of the challenges, like the scarecrow thing with the bugs and stuff, and I really don't like the supercharge one. And that being one of the levels that has a mystery bottle in it where you have to go running around the entire level trying to find it. It's just not... all of those things just kind of, put together make it not very fun.
Yeah, that's definitely fair. I can see that. Like, when I think of the mystery bottle, I believe it was on... was it Oasis that it was on?
Shady Oasis.
Shady Oasis, yeah. And then I really should have... kept up the list of levels, because while I love the game and can know every level based on how it looks, my memory of names with even games I know everything about is horrendous.
That's okay. That's why I'm here.
It's the lava level. The lava level with the dinosaurs. And they added the flossing guy to it in Reignited.
Skelos Badlands.
Yeah, Skelos Badlands. Did that one also have one of those bottles that you had to chase down through the level?
Yes, it did.
Okay. All right, cool. See, so I know that, but I don't know the name, so... But yeah, speaking of, that's probably my favorite level in the second game. I think Skelos Badlands is like the ultimate Spyro 2 level. Everything in there was fun. I liked all the challenges. The map design was cool. Actually having like, you know, lava all throughout it kind of gave it that Spyro 1 feel where you can't touch any of the liquid on the entire level or it will damage you and then eventually take your life. So I had a lot of fun with that one.
Awesome. Very nice. Actually, it sort of goes into my next question. You said Spyro 2 is your favorite. What are some of your other favorites, and what's your least favorite game?
Okay. I'll start with least favorite. This one's actually quite easy for me. It's got to be, I think it was called Spyro Orange and Crash Purple on Game Boy Advance. It was Game Boy Advance, correct?
I feel that. Yes, it was GBA.
Yeah, I remember I was so excited because this was like around the time that like, you know, Nickelodeon was doing all those crossovers, and I was like, oh, cool, now a game that I love, you know, 2 series get a crossover. This is going to be awesome. Yeah. It was not good. It was just fun to play. I was so disappointed because that was a wasted Christmas present. And that was, you know, it was hard to return games back then like that because no one wanted that. But honestly, I think my other favorites, I grew to, like I said, I had the Xbox, so I've grown to like a Hero's Tale quite a bit. I don't think it's on par with the first 3, but I liked a lot of the ideas in it, like the different the different breath attacks you could have throughout it were pretty cool. And not having them limited to one level was nice. And then honestly, Spyro 1, just for the simplicity of it and the music and everything, I thought that was the one where Stuart Copeland like was really in his element. All the music there just feels so whimsical and fun. And then the game actually did feel like it got progressively harder as it went on. And I feel like that's the only Spyro, for me at least, where that was the case. I feel like every other Spyro kind of had the same difficulty throughout. Whereas that one, actually, the level design did slowly get more and more convoluted and complex as you went through.
Okay. Yeah, I definitely understand that. And I do agree that Spyro 1 has the best soundtrack of all of them, though my favorite individual piece of music is Midnight Mountain from Spyro 3. I think that the first game, its soundtrack is just so unique in like across all of it. You get the most variety.
Yeah, for sure. As far as a favorite, I think mine's also from 3, but mine would be Fireworks Factory. I get pumped up every time I hear that. Fireworks
Factory is great.
Yeah, and especially now with Reignited, they really modernized the controls when you're playing as what was it? He was Agent 9 in that 9? One, right? Yeah, they actually modernized that. It felt really fun to play. The music really matched the atmosphere. It kind of reminded me of like old school like GoldenEye music or Perfect Dark. So that one really stuck out to me too. Okay. But yeah, no, Spyro 1, I mean, when I think like Spyro, I think Wizard's Peak. That's the music soundtrack that always comes to mind for me.
Wizard Peak. That's a good one. I personally love, there's so many tracks that I love in the first one. Dark Hollow will always stick out to me. I think that's a lot of people's favorites.
That one was good. I also quite liked the music. I believe it was Treetops. Yeah, it's in Treetops. I actually really like the music on that one, and I definitely grew accustomed to that music because as a kid, that was one of the hardest level for me to 100% in the first game. It's just nowadays I can just do it without trying, but even still, there's times where I just make a mistake and it's crushing.
Yeah, it'll do that to you. That's a lot of people say the same thing about Treetops. That's personally my favorite level. I think just because I had the guidebook growing up, so I already knew how to do it. And the reason I got the guidebook was not even for hard stuff like that, but it was actually for Maximos in Dry Canyon, the one where you have to make a blind glide. It was for that, because I couldn't figure out how to reach him. So that's why I got the guidebook. And having that, I was able to know already how to do Treetops and Haunted Towers. Also great music, Haunted Towers. So ever since then, it's just been my favorite, because I think just the way it's structured and, you know, the kind of exploration that you can do throughout those levels is awesome.
It's one of the first early like 3D games like levels too, where it really makes you work to get everything on the level and be able to move to the next one. Like if without the guidebook. I remember as a kid I was so frustrated, and then eventually I realized you have to like jump off of one of the jumps, do a 180 in midair, land going backwards on another one. It just gets crazy, and it's so fun. Now that I
Yeah.
know it, it's funny to just see people who are new at the game, like friends of mine, struggling, and I just take the controller and do that. But
Yeah.
yeah, Treetops is near the top for me too. I think that level gets a lot of like undeserved hate. I think I prefer the complex levels like that to the really simple ones. Like I would take a Treetops over a Stone Hill or a Town Square any day. Like those are still good levels, but I like stuff that challenges me a little.
Right. I get that. Stonehill is a fantastic introductory level.
It is. I think it's probably their second best. I still think Glimmer's their best introductory level, especially because it plops you right in. You're not even in like an overworld or anything. But yeah, Stone Hill's just really, really fun. And that one also has great music too.
Yeah. I really like Stonehill because it, usually levels like that, introductory ones, like they don't, you don't expect a beginner level like that to just kind of like throw you into like the secret finding and stuff, like the concept of there's a secret in this level and you won't find it the first time around probably. It's just really crazy. The beach area with the key, like, you could completely miss that. And this is the first level, so it's so crazy. And it gives you, the multiple paths, like you start like, oh, where do I go? Like, what's the source of that taunting noise? And, or do I go down this path with the dragon at the end? And, it's just all great. I love the way it's designed.
Yeah, and it's really cool because it's a level that like it kind of deceives you too because there's so much to it, but the exit is basically right there when you start.
Yes.
You can get to it pretty quickly. So a lot of people end up just not exploring that and not realizing how big it is. So, I mean, you're 100% right there.
Yes, it's so great. You just like, hey, the exit is right there. You can choose to go right to that, or do you want to explore a little and find out what's really in store?
I remember, it's silly, but I remember jumping past the exit to go onto the beach, and I started to think, oh, maybe the next level will also have something past the exit, and I jumped off and just died my first time playing.
Huh.
I thought they would just use the same secrets again. They did not. That was kind of when it also hit me that like, this game's pretty well designed. That every level feels a bit different. But
yeah,
the only criticism I have for Spyro 1 is honestly, as much as I like the design of the boss levels, like the linear design and the music, the boss fights themselves are just, they kind of suck. Like there's some comedy to them. Like it's really funny revealing that Toasty is a sheep. But aside from the comedy of it, I always felt a bit underwhelmed there. I mean, even Nasty Nork, like he's so intimidating through the whole game. At least it feels like he is with all the stuff he does. And then you get to him and he's just a wimp, which I guess that's the big joke of it, is that's why he throws everyone, because he's too wimpy to actually fight them head on.
Yeah. See, and I totally get where you're coming from. And a lot of other people say that too, is just like, oh, the bosses are just glorified enemies and they're not really boss fights. I get that. But at the same time, like you said, it's so unique compared to what they went with in the other games, because how many games, like, straight up have a boss level instead of just, like, a boss arena or something? Like, you don't...
That's very true, yeah. Yeah, because you have to progress through it like a regular level. And, when even just in Spyro 2, you just drop right in. You're plopped right in. Cutscene plays, boom, boss fight.
Yeah.
Yeah, that actually is true. It's the only one that does that. I wonder if the reason maybe they stopped doing that to like put more focus onto the actual boss mechanics, but I don't know. I feel like they could have pulled it off because there were still more levels in 2 than 1 as well. So
right. So I definitely want to see a return to that formula if the next Spyro game can do something like that. And speaking of the next Spyro game, what are your thoughts? Your general thoughts on Spyro 4?
Well, I really, really hope that it has that whimsical feel Spyro 1 has, but mixed with a lot of the side quests and objectives in Spyro 2. So I'm going to say something controversial. I've said this a lot. The first time I played Spyro 3, I love the game, and I think the levels in it are great. Like you said, it has great music. I was never a huge fan of the side character levels just because they were very simple. There was nothing like it just felt like going from playing Spyro to them, except for Sergeant Bird. He was actually a little interesting for me.
Okay, yeah. I was gonna say, like, hey, Sergeant Bird does a little different because at least for the Enchanted Towers mission, which is my favorite one, you get to explore the entire level you just did with Spyro, but as another character, and that's so cool.
Yeah, which is cool. And, you know, being able to actually fly outside of the flight levels was really awesome. But yeah, if they do this, I want them to have additional characters like in 3, but I would really like them to flesh out those characters' mechanics. Like, take the time to do that. Don't rush the game. You know, they were on a 1 game a year kind of time crunch back when the first 3 came out, so it's understandable that it was kind of hard to develop mechanics for, what was it, 4 total side characters, I believe. It was because it was him, it was Sheila. Or sorry, not Bianca. There was Bianca. Sorry.
No. Bianca's not playable.
Oh, it was Sheila. It was Sheila. Yeah. Bianca's bunny girl.
I wish Bianca was playable. I hope she, maybe we will get that. But
I would love for her, Alora, and Hunter to all come back in the next one. That's my biggest hope. Is that it takes place? I would love if it took place in all the different realms too. Like, so, you have the dragon world. And then you have Avalar. What was the world in Spyro 3 called again?
Forgotten Realms.
The Forgotten Realms, yeah. It would be really cool if it doesn't just have one overworld or one set of overworlds in one realm. It would be really cool if you actually have to travel through the different realms and meet with all the characters that you've met before, as well as some new faces. I think that would be nice, but I just don't want... I don't want the bad villains in writing of like Enter the Dragonfly and A Hero's Tale. Like that's my main thing. Like I mentioned earlier, I like A Hero's Tale, but like, dude, the main villain is just a red dragon and his name is Red. Like, can we get a bit more creative than that? Now, this is Toys for Bob though, so I trust that they'll be very good. I like what they did. Because they also developed Crash 4 It's About Time, correct?
Yes.
Oh yeah, then I fully trust them with Spyro 4. Whatever they pump out is going to be incredible. But yeah, my biggest wish is just flesh out the side characters, like make them as interesting to play as Spyro is. That's my biggest thing. And also, I really want Stuart Copeland to come back. I know it's probably not likely due to his age and like all the different stuff that he's doing nowadays. He's definitely bigger today than he was in the late 90s, outside of the police, obviously. But it would be really cool to see him come back and do some work.
Yeah. But all of that goes into my next question. What are some of the most important things you think Spyro 4 should have? Okay,
so you know what I've always thought would be really cool, especially with so Spyro, A Hero's Tale, and Enter the Dragonfly did not have the gates to go to the different areas, did they?
No, not in the traditional sense, no. Because Enter the Dragonfly was a little bit different in the way it worked, because you got to the levels through different means and not just portals. There were portals inside those levels for like the mini games and stuff.
Gotcha.
But no, it was a little bit different in how you actually got to the level. And A Hero's Tale was more open world like.
Yeah, you would actually just straight up travel to the area that you were going to explore, correct?
Yeah, so they were all interconnected.
Yes. So what I want them to bring back the gates to the different worlds, like we had in Spyro 1 through 3. But I thought what could be interesting is if, because I keep up with as much Spyro news as I can, so I watch a lot of Canadian Guy A. Very cool. If what he was talking about is correct, and they do add like a questing system, not just quests, but like trackable quests, I've always thought that Spyro has a really good potential as a universe for quests that actually go between the different worlds. So like you could pick up a quest from someone in one world and it involves going into like another world and either meeting with a character or getting them an item that they need and bringing it back.
Oh.
Yeah, and I feel like that could be a really fun way to actually keep you going back and forth between all the different worlds instead of going in, world's 100% done, never coming back.
You know what's interesting about that is it reminds me of Attack of the Rhinox. Because it kind of had you doing, fetch quests of the like as well.
So Attack of the Rhino, that was the GBA game as well, right? The one that was actually pretty okay, from what I remember.
For most people.
Depending on who you ask, yeah.
Depending, yes. Most people think it's the best one of the three. I personally don't like any of them, but you know, interesting kind of fetch quest concept, which I don't know if many people like that sort of thing in games. I kind of do. If it's done well, I kind of do.
Yeah, and that's my thing. Like, I think Toys for Bob could do a good job with it. I'm not talking like MMO style where every single quest is the exact same. Go here, fetch this, come back. But you know, something unique like, hey, I need you to go to this world and kill 8 of this enemy and bring me back like a relic or something. Like something like that could be kind of cool to keep you actually busy in every world.
Right.
But yeah, I could definitely get why people don't like going back and forth. But for me, I mean, I just love going into the levels, and the more reason I have to go and explore a Spyro level, the better. I like to spend as much time as I can with them. Exactly.
And I personally am a fan of backtracking when it's done well, because I grew up with, you know, games like Banjo-Tooie, where it's all about the backtracking, and I loved it so much, and the interconnected worlds. So I'm a big fan of having stuff like that in the next Spyro game.
Yeah, I mean, heck, even some shooter games have that, which is funny because a lot of the people who prefer the straightforward games like shooters, but if you look at like the first popular shooter, Doom, that game has so much backtracking. Some of the levels in that just get so convoluted, and you have to go back and forth over and over. And I guess maybe that's the reason I've liked it since I was a kid. That was one of my first, but yeah, if Spyro had something like that with the different gates, that would be cool. Another thing I would really like them to add to it is what was in A Hero's Tale. I would love the different breath attacks. Done a bit more uniquely. I don't think that they were done as well as they could have been in that game. It would be nice if there was a lot more use cases for them than just, oh, I want to use this one right now because I feel like it, or the game is forcing me to use this one. I want it to kind of make you think about how you use them.
Did A Hero's Tale have different breath abilities?
Yeah, I believe it had a water one, which you would get after defeating the octopus lady.
Oh, okay.
It had the electrical one that you got after... Oh, God, I don't even remember who you beat for that one. I need to play that game again soon. And then there was one other... Hold on. I think it might have just been wind, but let me check. Oh, no, it was ice. I don't know why I thought it was wind. It was ice.
Okay, because I remember that Enter the Dragonfly had those, of course. It had ice, yes, electricity, and then the, you know, bubble breath, which I'm sure everybody wants back.
The bubble breath was cute. But that's about it. That's the... I played Enter the Dragonfly once because, you know, Mugany brought it over with his PlayStation 2 and was like, hey, play this. And I remember I was like 28 at the time. This was only like 4 years ago, and I was still so frustrated with that game. I'm sure the people developing it were also very, very frustrated.
Yes, it's had a very troubled development history.
Yeah, and they took a lot of the ideas in that and kind of made them better with A Hero's Tale, so that was nice. And God, A Hero's Tale was the last of like that classic kind of formula before we got into the Legend of Spyro games, I believe, wasn't it?
Yeah, in a way.
Unless you're including handhelds, of course.
Yeah. The last one in the classic series is technically Shadow Legacy. That's the last one in that timeline.
Gotcha.
But I think if we're being honest, I think Enter the Dragonfly was the last one to really follow the classic formula.
That's true.
Because A Hero's Tale did, like, deviate from that a little bit.
Yeah, like you said, it was more open world. You just kind of went through doing whatever you wanted to. But, another thing, speaking of, I was curious on your thoughts. If they do make a Spyro 4, do you want it to actually be a Spyro 4, or do you want them to acknowledge that Enter the Dragonfly and A Hero's Tale exist?
They can definitely acknowledge that those games exist. I have no problem with that whatsoever. I'm thinking, if not a direct sequel to Spyro 3, kind of like a distant sequel where it takes place after Year of the Dragon, but it can also make references to other games and stuff, and it doesn't have to be like, it doesn't have to be retconning all the games that nobody likes and stuff, because that's I mean, it's kind of what people thought that Crash 4 did, where it's just like, oh, they, like, Wrath of Cortex doesn't exist anymore. Well, like, it doesn't really say that it doesn't. It's not really retconning them out of existence.
Yeah, it's just not giving it full acknowledgement.
Yeah. See,
personally, I do, like you, I hope it's basically a sequel, a direct sequel, or at least distant to Spyro 4, or sorry, to Spyro 3. My other big hope is I want all the bosses to be new characters. I don't want them to try to rehash a boss. I don't want them, because they brought Nasty Nork back in A Hero's Tale. They brought back Ripto in Enter the Dragonfly. I don't want that. I want completely brand new bosses with interesting mechanics, new fights. I think that would be really fun.
Nice. New bosses, new main villain, I'm assuming, yes?
Yeah, absolutely. Heck, if they somehow did the idea that I liked, where it would be all the different realms, 3 main villains, 1 in each realm, and then maybe like some dude over them. But yeah, I just want fresh villains. I love Ripto. I think he's one of my favorite gaming villains ever.
Yes.
But I don't want to see him again as a villain. I want Toys for Bob to kind of take the reins and make their own villain and see how they can do with that. Because it's not really like Spyro where, it's not like Crash where Cortex is always the guy. You can have different things in Spyro.
Exactly, because that's never what Spyro was. Like, they always had a different one. And it wasn't one of those series where it was like, this is the good guy and this is the bad guy. Like, your arch nemesis. It just wasn't that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And a lot of people think Ripto was the arch nemesis because he appears the most out of all of them. Some people still think that Nasty Nork is because he was the first one. No one says shit about the sorceress.
Which is sad because she's actually the most evil of all the villains if you really look into it. Like, Ripto was a jerk, but like she just actually wanted to genocide the dragons.
Yeah, and Ratchet and Clank is the same way, because I have expressed that I don't want Ripto to become like Dr. Nefarious, who keeps appearing in every game. Like, I don't care how long we have to wait between each game, like how long the wait is. It's still, if your villain is appearing in game after game just because they're the popular one, like, it gets a little annoying.
Yeah, no, definitely. I mean, imagine if Nasty Nork was the villain in every single game. I don't think people would like Spyro the way that they do now. No disrespect to him, I think he's a fun first villain, but Spyro 2 and 3 would not work with him. And
yeah,
I just want them to have someone entirely new, and obviously something more creative than a red dragon named Red. That would be nice. And I have to throw this in, for God's sake, please do not have your final villain somehow survive, and you can only find out if you unlock the 100% level.
Yeah.
That, when I played Spyro 3 and had that happen, I was like, are you serious, dude?
Yeah, and, cue an awful final boss, like, secret final boss, it just...
Which is a shame, because her fight was actually very fun and interesting, and then, yeah, the secret fight was terrible. It wasn't that fun.
I don't even think the first one is good, but...
Spyro 2 definitely had the best ones, and if I recall, you'll probably be the expert here, didn't the original PlayStation versions of that have like a scaling difficulty where they would actually be easier or harder depending on how well you were doing against them?
Yes,
and
so...
in the new ones, it's like locked?
Yes, that is true. In Spyro 3 specifically, I don't know if the other ones do that, but Year of the Dragon did have adaptive difficulty, and it is very noticeable for Spike, because in the original, he takes 9 hits. It is awful. I hate that boss fight so much. And you just, depending on how well you do before you get up to that, like, he'll just, if you're doing well, that'll be one of the hardest fights ever. And, it pisses me off so much. So, but then if you keep losing to him, he'll have less hit points and he'll go down to like 6, which I think in Reignited, it's locked at 6.
It is. Yes, that is true. And what's funny is I remember that too, because when I played Reignited for the first time, I got to him. I was shocked how easy he was. Yes. Because in my head, I was thinking, how is Gulp from Spyro 2 harder than Spike? There's no way that's correct, because my memory as a kid was that Gulp was kind of hard, but Spike was like a different level. And then yeah, I some people like rumored that that was a thing. I didn't know if it was actually true, but that makes sense that they did that. And I wonder why. Because I mean, the original game engines were lost, so I wonder if they just forgot to implement that into theirs when they recreated it.
Well, originally I saw that there was supposed to be some kind of difficulty setting. I guess they had that planned at one point, but they just never put it in.
That would have been cool and interesting, actually. I would absolutely play a hard mode Spyro.
I would not, but that's just me because I find certain things about those games hard enough as they are.
That's fair. Hey, as long as it doesn't make the gliding and like running on levels like treetops harder, I'm fine. Just, I mean, because a hard mode, I wonder if they were thinking that because maybe they were actually also thinking about the Spyro 1 bosses. Maybe needed like an uptick in difficulty, but it's hilarious that they stayed the same and then the 3 ones got easier.
Yeah. And the whole thing about Gulp being harder than Spike, so I don't know what's going on with me, but for some reason, in the original, I found both Gulp and Spike to be extremely hard. They were just the worst. They were the 2 worst bosses for me. And in Reignited, to me, they're both easy. A lot of people that I know struggled so much with Gulp in Reignited. It took me 2 tries. I do not know why. I defeated him so easily. Don't know how that happened. I struggled more with the Ox in Metropolis than I did with Gulp.
It's actually crazy. The Ox in Metropolis, that's silly. But no, I mean, because I've streamed trying to do no-hit Spyro, and I completed the first game without ever taking a hit. I was super proud of that. The hardest one for me was Treetops, like I said. That was a run killer. Had to restart a few times. But Spyro 2, I would always get there with no hits. Crush is super easy, one of the easiest boss fights in the whole series. You literally just walk up to him, make him hit the ground, turn around, flame him. That's it, over and over. So easy, even as he hits faster and faster. But Gulp just, I don't know, even to this day, I don't know if it's a mental thing, but I always end up getting hit by his freaking missiles that he shoots into the air that bomb down on you every time.
Yeah.
It's just, he's the run ender for me. I still haven't beaten Spyro 2 hitless because every time I think I psych myself out and get hit by it.
Yeah, it's crazy. And when this is Reignited, right?
Yes, Reignited. In the original, he was very hard too. I just didn't think he was as hard as Spike. I thought Spike was like the worst thing I had ever faced in a game up to that point, which is hilarious because now I play like Souls-likes. But Spike is, for a game like Spyro, he is just an insane spike in difficulty.
Yeah, and that's probably why his name is Spike.
Yeah, there you go.
But yeah, I don't know. I don't know how I was able to defeat Gulp in just 2 tries. I guess maybe I found out how the fight worked because the camera is very weird in Reignited when it comes to the bosses. It like locks onto them.
Yes.
And I guess I found out that you have to do kind of like a serpentine motion when it comes to like, you know, his attacks.
Yeah, you have to kind of just move back and forth a little bit to dodge those. But yeah, the camera being locked on probably does mess with me too. That might be part of it because it does not do that in the original, and I was so used to that for a long time. Everything, and it's funny because in Spyro 1, and I think in Spyro 3, does it lock it to the boss as well in Reignited?
In Reignited, yes, it does.
Okay, yeah, but in Spyro 1, obviously it doesn't because, like we discussed, those are actual levels you have to go through. But yeah, that could explain it because that's not how I'm used to playing those boss fights. So I guess in Reignited, it's just kind of different for me. Ripto's arena also felt a lot different because of that, now that you mention it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Ripto's fight is weird and Reignited because not just like the camera thing, but I swear that like it's way harder to dodge those fireballs because they are homing. Like I most of the attacks I swear in Reignited are just like homing attacks, and it's so hard to dodge them.
Yeah.
It tracks you so easily. So what I have to do is like just fly in one direction, like don't even look at the thing, and eventually it will pass me. Like, and it makes trying to lock on to Ripto himself like that much harder.
Yeah. Though on the flip side, It is nice because in the original one, that boss fight was also difficult for me because I would constantly lose track of where he was, where that's basically impossible now because it's just always locked onto him. You know where he is. Another, it's not a boss fight, but another encounter that's changed. In Spyro 3, the level where you have to kill those 2 flying dragons, and it works kind of like the centipede mechanic where you have to break their body parts. They were way faster in the original game, weren't they?
So, okay, the original version of that challenge is actually one of my favorites. I just loved being able to fly around, and yes, it did take a while. It was a little bit tedious, because you gotta tail one of them and make sure that one's gone before you do the other one, or else they'll grow back. But that was always kind of a little more of a relaxing challenge for me. Obviously, if they face right towards you, you'll get hit. In Reignited, they are the most aggressive things in the world. I don't know what went wrong, but that challenge is so messed up.
They are zooming the whole time, too. It's like trying to chase down freaking Sonic the Hedgehog. Like, because you'll turn around and you'll be like, all right, they're going to come out of here. And by the time you get back over to there, they're already zooming out of it and your fireball's going to miss them. It's just, they fly. And yeah, they are very aggressive. That one, I think that challenge probably took me longer than any other Spyro challenge ever did, at least in Reignited.
Yeah.
It's just so much.
Yeah, it took me a long time, too. That was one of the last ones I completed. Because I was like, are you kidding me? Like, this used to be one of my favorites. What are you doing? Like, why did you change it for the worse?
Yeah, it's funny because that was one of the best. I won't say they've ruined it. I mean, it's still okay, but it is very tedious and annoying. And then I guess on the flip side, though, the Agent 9 levels don't suck anymore because you have like actual modern aim controls. So, I mean, we got the one bad challenge flop in Spyro 3, but at least that character became really fun. But it kind of annoyed me because if I recall, in the first time you're playing Agent 9, it puts you in like a third person mode and then it swaps you to first person every time thereafter. Is that right?
So let's see. In Agent 9's first level, you were in third person. The one in Fireworks Factory is, the one in Dino Mines is, the one in Haunted Tomb is not.
Gotcha. That's also
that is a different one. That's kind of like that's more of a top-down kind of thing.
Oh, okay. It makes me a bit sad though. I wish they were all third person, like that first beach one, because his design overhaul is really good. It's one of my favorites that Toys for Bob did. He just looks so fun and unique and interesting.
Yeah, he's my favorite as a character for sure.
Oh yeah, he's cool. He's hilarious. Like, very funny dude. Out of all the side characters, I think I liked him the most. Sergeant Bird's cool, but Agent 9 just has so much character and flavor to him.
Yeah.
And he's my least favorite had to be the Yeti. Not because he's like a bad character, but I just hate his levels. It's literally just Yeti smash, Yeti push block. That's the whole game. Yep.
It's not like it's horrible, but I don't really like his gameplay, especially with the type of variety he has. You think it would be like, I would prefer it if it was just Yeti smash, Yeti push block. I would much prefer that over, this is whack-a-mole and it sucks. This is boxing and it sucks. Like, why? Why would you do that?
I remember the boxing in that game was trouble with the trolley of Spyro 3. That was the one that just trolled everybody. I could not beat that. And you know what's funny? He's easier. That challenge is also easier, I think, in Reignited. In the original, that dude kicks my butt all the time.
Yeah, it's slightly easier because I think I just kind of mash the buttons, yeah.
Yeah, it works a bit better.
Also, I don't care what the game says. It says, Bentley blocks low automatically. He does not. He does not. The game is lying to me.
He absolutely doesn't, because the guy will literally hit low and you'll get hit even if you're blocking. It's ridiculous.
It will say, in both versions, they'll say, like, Bentley blocks low. He does not. The game is lying. Do not listen.
Yeah, maybe they meant his legs, the one part we can't see. I don't know, but yeah, they lied. Bentley, as a matter of fact, does not block low.
Oh, but yeah, Yeti boxing. I don't know, the worst challenge in Spyro 3 to me was always the Demolition Derby and Haunted Tomb. The Reignited one actually is easier for me, but the original is the worst. I just hate it so much.
I definitely get that. And you know, it's funny. Everyone seems to the one that I hate, I always irk my friends with this, but I don't like any of the skateboarding levels. I think they all just don't control super great. It just makes me want to go play Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 2, to be honest. And I know that that game is exactly why they put it into Spyro 3. They put it in there because Tony Hawk's Pro Skater was so popular at the time, and they were wanting to include some different mechanics. But what's the one where is it the pirate level where you like race around trying to defeat everyone else while you're on the skateboard?
Right. So the skateboard, the parks, I think are fine. I think those are okay, but I do not like any of the races. Those all suck. Yeah, the one in Lost Fleet really sucks. I don't like that. Especially in Reignited, it's so broken. It's so broken. And God, don't get me started on the Yeti snowboarding in the super bonus round.
Oh, I remember that. I remember. So, oh God, I lived with my ex-wife back in Arkansas, and that was when I had just bought my own PS1 finally, so I could play these games again. And I remember watching her trying to do that skateboarding level at the very end, like the bonus one. And she was just getting so annoyed with it. And she handed me the controller. And I got so annoyed that I didn't want to play Spyro for like a month after. I hated that level. I just could not do it for the life of me.
For the longest time, I just couldn't beat that game because, well, actually, I had a weird copy because I grew up with the Black Label version of Spyro 3, which has this glitch in the speedways. If you don't finish it completely the first time around, you're locked out of getting the eggs. So
really,
yeah, it has a very, very weird glitch in the Black Label version. But that's why I could never make it to the super bonus round as a kid. So I borrowed my friend's copy of the Greatest Hits version. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to do this. I'm going to go to the super bonus round. And I'm going to beat this stupid Yeti race. And I finally did it. And I was like, oh my God, it's done.
That's incredible. So I have the white label ones, the collector's edition ones, because that's what they had at the store I went to. I assume those are the revision 1.1 ones that fix that, right?
Yes.
Okay, thank God, because I was thinking of replaying them again soon, and if they had been like the Black Label, I probably would not have played Spyro 3, because I would not be able to 100% it, because like you, I couldn't do that, and I would just get locked away from the eggs forever.
Yeah, because I didn't like the speedways as a kid. I mean, I still don't really like them now. I kind of do them just to get them over with, and they're okay. They almost act as like this moment of respite, like against like doing all the other levels, and I'm just like, you know what, I'll just do a speedway and I'll be fine. So it's better now than it was when I was a kid, and I'm like, I don't want to do the flights, they're so stupid.
Yeah. Which is funny because, yeah, like you said, nowadays the flights, they're the respite. You know, I get to a flight level in even Spyro 1 and 2, and they're fun now because I don't suck at the game anymore, so I can actually do the flights. I have a lot of fun with them now. I have not played them on the original PlayStation in a while, so maybe that would be different because my controller is beat up to hell and back, but we'll see.
Oh, man. Well, let's see. Do I have any more questions? Did you give your stance on returning characters?
So specifically, I do want I want the bosses to be different, like I said. If they had like Easter eggs for some of the old bosses, like just in a cutscene, that could be kind of funny because the comedy in Spyro has always been pretty on point. But as far as that, I want them to bring back some of these side characters that you didn't play as. Like you said, we have Sheila, we have I already forget the Yeti's name because I hate playing as Bentley, yeah. We have Bentley, we have Sergeant Bird. They're all fine. Agent 9 coming back could be kind of cool because if I recall, he was only in that one, at least out of the ones I've played. But I want them to bring some of the side characters. Like I want Hunter, who I guess you could play as a bit in A Hero's Tale. Mm-hmm. I want Hunter. I want Alora back. I want Bianca for sure. Bianca was great. Yes. And it would be great if you got to play as those characters and they had their own quests. Like maybe Hunter and Bianca go on a quest together. Spyro and Alora go on a quest together, and go do some stuff. That could be super fun. Maybe I've always thought if a game can pull off having two characters on a level and having to actually use them, like either swap between them or have one of them be a companion that you actually need to have to complete the level. I kind of like stuff like that if it's super well done. And I could see them doing it with the characters in Spyro, because that would have been way too ambitious back when the games first came out. But nowadays, I think that's something they could do. But just don't bring back Blink the Mole, please. Let that thing die forever. I will be good. Anything else is fine. Oh, and also, I would actually kind of dig a Sparks level now if they did it in that Agent 9 first-person style. I actually think that could be kind of fun. I didn't think the top-down levels for Sparks were like an atrocity. I actually always kind of liked them a little bit. But it would be really cool. See, it would be cool to have like a behind-the-back like view of him, like a third-person thing. I think that could be kind of fun. That
would be a more interesting way to do it, because you could play as Sparks in A Hero's Tale, right? And it was kind of like that. You were kind of like flying with him around certain levels.
A little bit, but yeah, that was like, you could tell first-person shooters were not the forte of the developers of that game because it was bad.
Yeah.
In fact, I like I said, I like A Hero's Tale. I think aside from the Hunter levels, which were extremely basic in design too, like everything was telegraphed, I don't think there's a single good secondary character level in that entire game. I think they all suck. I think Blink the Mole's terrible, just awful character. I thought everything with Sparks was not as good as in Year of the Dragon. I can't even remember any of the other ones off the top of my head because that's how little I liked it. So yeah, I've been wanting to replay that one recently, but I remember I was watching someone's video on it and it got to the Blink the Mole stuff and I was like, do I really want to replay this actually? I don't know. Maybe I'll just go play Reignited again, for the 10th time this year.
Yeah, exactly.
But I would also, if they do, I assume they're doing a Spyro 4. I'm not one of the doomers that thinks they're not doing it. Every sign points to them doing it, and just taking their time because they want it to be a good game. I just really want them to keep taking their time. I don't want them to rush something out. Like, I don't care if the game takes 10 years and comes out in 2029. Like, as long as we get a really good game out of it and Spyro becomes popular again, that's all I want. Like, realistically, they can do whatever they want as far as the characters and all that. But yeah, bring Alora back, please. I love Alora. She was only in she was only in 2, and then like there's 2 scenes in Spyro 3 that she was in. It was in the fireworks factory was one of them where she like sits down and has her little date with Spyro.
Yeah.
I want to say there was another one that she was in Spyro 3. Was she in a second scene or was that it?
The very first scene she was in, it was also the one with the professor and Agent 9.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah. And Spyro's like, "Where's Hunter?"
Yeah. I would also love speaking of level design, I would love if they brought back some of that Spyro 1 level design where there's like a lot of different areas where you have to actually use your flight to get around the level. I liked the floating island aesthetic of the first game. I thought it was really cool. Everything looked awesome. And with these skyboxes they made for Reignited, like I have no doubt they could come up with some incredible environments to go along with stuff like that.
Yeah, that was always something so great and unique about Spyro 1 was its dreamlike quality. The other ones just didn't have it.
When I there's one level in particular that I always think of. I said it was Wizard's Peak, but realistically when I think of a level that like perfected the Spyro 1 gameplay, for me it's Dark Passage. I really like that level. All the different like areas that you can kind of traverse to, the different winding paths. There were so many gems. I think there was 5 dragons on that one. It was a huge level for the time. I mean, it's bigger than a lot of Spyro 2 and 3 levels. That level of Dark Passage was cool. And I want more things like that. I don't think every level in a game should have to revolve around mini games. I think the mini games are cool, and I did like getting the orbs. It was very satisfying. But I would like a bit of a return to the first game's formula where some of the levels really are just about exploring, seeing the different whimsical stuff, just getting your gems, hunting down some eggs, here and there, or baby dragons even. I think that could be really fun. And yeah, bring back the na guys, the thieves. I like the egg thieves. They're cool.
Yeah. All right. Well, that is all the questions I have, so I think I'm going to end it here.
Okay.
Thank you so much for being on this. It was super fun. It was fantastic. You really feel the same way that I do about a lot of stuff. So, yeah, this was a great conversation.
Yeah, I mean, my girlfriend gets annoyed. I live in breathe Spyro, so because she's a teacher, so he'll come home from work and be like, "What are you doing?" and look at the TV, see it's Spyro, and just go into the next room because it's
like,
Spyro yet again.
Okay, well,
yeah.
Oh, that dragon again. All right.
Yeah, I'm trying to get her to play it, but she does not get the dual thumbstick thing. Her hand-eye coordination isn't good, but I'm gonna get her there. I told her she has to beat the first Spyro. That's like she has to. That's like gonna be a pillar of our marriage one day, that she is able to beat Spyro. That's a joke I made.
Oh, hell yeah. Yeah, don't don't marry her unless she beats Spyro 1.
Exactly. Look, don't even put a ring on it unless she can beat Spyro 1. That's the goal.
Marriage goals. All right, well, thank you so much again, and thank you all of you out there for listening. As always, if you are new, don't forget to subscribe for more casual gaming content, and I will see you next time. Until then, this is Miharu, signing off.